Welcome to another episode of MoTorque, the show where we bring you cars, bikes, action, adventure, motorsports, and anything to do with torque. On tonight's episode, the new Nissan 370Z, a classic Mercedes 190 SL, and highlights from the MRA Insurance Ombudsman Rally.
This is not an ordinary Nissan. Oh no. Instead, it's the latest member of one of the longest running sports car families in the world. That family is none other than the legendary Z cars. For over 4 decades, they have proven to all and sundry that Japan can build sports cars that can go head to head with the best in the world. It all started with the 240Z in 1969, which, with its smooth and powerful 6-cylinder motor, superbly balanced rear-wheel drive chassis, and macho styling, set the template that is being followed to this day. Then there was the 1989 300ZX Twin Turbo, which had European car makers rushing back to the drawing boards thanks to its stunning performance, handling, and all-round technical sophistication. And of course, the 350Z, which took the Z car family back to its roots as a hairy-chested, big-hearted sports car. So as you can see, the Nissan Z cars have a pretty illustrious history. And what we've got here for you today is the latest chapter in that glorious tale, the new 370Z. The 370 takes all that was good about its predecessor and turns it up to 11. It's shorter, wider and lower to the ground, which gives it a real crouched and ready to pounce look. Muscular flared arches and character lines that seem carved from a super sharp samurai sword add to the visual drama and leave you in no doubt about this car's heritage. It's super modern, but at the same time reminds you of Z cars past, and to my eyes it looks spectacular. Inside also reads directly from the Z car history book. You sit low, cocooned in a cabin that has high doors and small glass area. In front of you are 3 large dials for the important information, with the rev counter directly ahead of you obviously. The seats are ultra comfortable, yet they grip you like an affectionate gorilla. Sit behind this wheel and you just know that this is a place to do some serious driving. If you expect the 370Z to be a raucous, hard-riding wild man of a car, well, you couldn't be more wrong. See, sports cars in this day and age have to be able to do the everyday thing just as well as any family saloon, and the Z is no different. So when you're on the commute or stuck in traffic or just headed down to the shops on a weekend, you can pop the gearbox into drive, it's an automatic of course, and just relax. It's no different to say driving another big Nissan like a Tiana or something. It's quiet, rides remarkably well even on these huge wheels that it has, and it's nimble enough to dart around traffic and scoot around a bit. In fact, some would even say that it's a little bit too good at the everyday stuff, that it's maybe too quiet and too refined and just missing some of that theatre and drama and, the shouting that people think a sports car should have. It's even got an automatic gearbox, they would say. Well, you can shut these people up by doing the following. Step 1. Find a clear, open and empty stretch of road. Step 2. Drop the gearbox down maybe a gear using the manual mode. Step 3. This. 328 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.6 seconds and a top speed of 250 plus. That is pretty mental. And it should shut just about anyone up. Another huge bonus of an engine like this is the sheer flexibility. Say you're driving along on a normal but fairly narrow road and you come up behind one of the sand lorries that are so numerous these days, doing about 30 kilometers an hour and completely blocking the road. there's oncoming traffic coming the other way, and overtaking opportunities are not really that great. But in this car, drop down a gear and you're gone. Just like that. No window is too small. There's no gap that you can't make. That's the beauty of 3.7 liters and 328 horsepower. As for the handling, well, think of any cliche that you've heard about sports cars really. Telepathic responses, corners as if it's on rails, etc, etc, etc. Well, all of those feel like they would have been written about this car. The way it goes down a winding road is just beyond belief. In conclusion, the 370Z is everything you could want from a modern sports car. Mentally fast, thrilling to drive, but at the same time perfectly capable of being driven every day and everywhere. Every inch a sports car, but without the compromises. And of course, a fantastic new chapter in the Z car story. Mercedes-Benz is universally known for making cars that are paragons of engineering excellence. That is true today, and it was true 60 years ago when they launched the 300 SL, the most technically advanced car of the 1950s. With its fuel-injected straight six, alloy body panels, gull-wing doors and otherworldly performance, it must have seemed like an alien spaceship to a society that was still recovering from the effects of a world war. The 300 SL was the Bugatti Veyron of its time. Extremely fast, one of the fastest cars in the world, supremely complicated, mega expensive, and built in very, very limited numbers. But while that sort of thing was excellent for grabbing magazine headlines and building image, it didn't sell a lot of cars, especially in the growing American sports car market, which was hungry for European sports cars. So, Mercedes, as US importer at the time, suggested that they build a companion model to the 300 SL, something that looked quite similar, but was much less complicated, easier to run, and also more accessible to the thousands of people who wanted a European sports car. Well, what you see here is the result of that request, the 190 SL. Unlike the space-age 300 SL with its complex tubular frame and race-derived suspension, the 190 was designed to be simple to build, and so it was based on a modified version of the W120 Ponton Saloons platform, shortened by 10 inches and fitted with a revised rear suspension to control the snap oversteer that made the bigger 300 SL a handful in some conditions. The chop platform was clothed in a body that shared many cues with its bigger brother, but some observers feel that the 190 SL's smaller proportions don't quite do justice to the styling and lend it a rather cartoonish air. In the right colors though, it looks simply gorgeous. Since the Ponton Saloons were powered by an ancient flathead 4 that would hardly adapt to sports car duty, Mercedes designed an all-new engine for the 190 SL, based loosely on the Big Six. A 1.9-litre single overhead cam 4-cylinder with an iron block and an alloy head and twin Solex carburetors, it put out 105 horsepower and 142 Nm of torque, which was good but hardly outstanding even for the time. The 190 SL was no lightweight either, at just under 1,200 kilos, so it's not surprising that performance was hardly electrifying, with 0 to 100 coming up in 13 seconds and a top speed of around 170 km per hour. Nevertheless, that was roughly comparable to the MG and Triumph sports cars of the time, and the 190 SL was certainly in a different league to those in terms of build quality and refinement, and of course, in price. The handling was definitely tuned more towards safety and comfort rather than agility and responsiveness, and most period reviews class the 190 SL as more of a brisk touring car than an out-and-out sporting machine. A fact that you can readily agree with when you set your eyes on the interior, with the almost armchair-like leather seats, massive white rimmed steering wheel, and bank of chrome switches and dials. It just screams 1950s movie star glamour in here, and you won't be surprised to hear that famous 190 SL owners included Grace Kelly, later Princess Grace of Monaco, the Aga Khan, and Zaza Gabor. A less desirable association led to a nickname that the car carries to this day in Germany. Famous 1950s German call girl Rosemarie Nitribit owned a 190 SL and was often seen driving it around to solicit customers. She was murdered in 1957 and the case was never definitively solved, so it inspired novels, movies, and even a musical. All this notoriety has meant that the 190 SL will always be remembered in its home country as the Nitribit Mercedes. Our featured car is owned by the Akbar Alis, and following a meticulous restoration, it now resides at their Bolgota property alongside other generations of Mercedes SL. Like all of the Akbar Ali's cars, it is regularly exercised and is kept in fine form by a dedicated team of technicians. For this segment, we are at the AMW Auto Mall, which AMW calls a completely new concept in used vehicle sales in Sri Lanka. What they are is a trade-in operation where you can bring in your used car of any brand and drive off with a new AMW vehicle. And they also have a very interesting selection of used cars, up to and including this beautiful 350Z, which has apparently nearly 600 horsepower at the rear wheels. And yes, it is for sale. So, can I interest you in it?
Well, Automall started way back in 2008. Automall is basically run in Dubai under Al Futtaim itself, and they had it for the past, I think, about 15 years or so. And that's why once they bought us over in 2008, they wanted us to start this business where the trading is concerned. And so we got off the ground in 2008 by, actually we started off it only trading in our brands in 2008, but down the line we felt that there were many a customer with different brands who wanted to come and trade in for our brands, and they were deprived of it. So we opened the market in 2009 to all brands. So they could bring their vehicles in, carry out an inspection here, and do the trade-ins at this end and go for one of our vehicles from this end itself. So that is how Automall started off. Through Automall, when purchasing a vehicle through Automall itself, number one, the documentation pertaining to RMV work is checked up by us itself prior to us taking the vehicles in to make sure that the documents are perfect. And secondly, the vehicles go in to our workshops for a general checkup. Mainly engine gearbox, because what we do is when we resell the vehicles, we give a warranty on the engine and gearbox. That is due to manufacturing faults, of course. And the warranty is given for 6 months or 10,000 kilometers, whichever occurs first. So that is a part of Automall services that we give from this end regarding the vehicle. We have a 24-hour roadside assistance that is given to any customer who purchases a vehicle from us. If they are not agreeable with our valuation, we give them an option of leaving the vehicle with us. Of course, we cannot give them a specific time or date when the vehicle will be sold, but the vehicle can be parked at our end with the price given by them, and we would try to help out to sell the vehicle. We have our own finance company, AMW Capital Leasing, so we do through them itself, mainly through them, we could carry out a lease, say within 4 hours. While the customer waits here, he could drive off his vehicle. Yes, within 4 hours, maximum of 4 hours. And we work with other finance companies too, but other finance companies, we cannot specify a time factor. It all depends on how long they take to do the documentation. But through us, yes, within 4 hours, the customer can drive off his vehicle from us. We look forward generally for 30% down, 70% lease, but that is also flexible depending on the credibility of the customer itself. I would like to put it out to the open public, if they have any vehicle, if they want to trade in, rather than going through a hassle by advertising, waiting at home, not knowing who will come by, please call over to AMW Auto Mall. We are situated at Borella, adjoining the Suzuki Maruti showrooms. So even if you want to purchase a vehicle, come by, because you will have a vehicle with a warranty itself. So it's peace of mind end of the day.
Eight leading insurance companies and the Motor Racing Association, in concert with the Insurance Ombudsman's Office of Sri Lanka, held a motor rally, the first of its kind, in Colombo on the 22nd of March 2014. This event was the very first of its type that was organized by insurance companies, and the focus of the event was on time, safety and discipline. The rally itself commenced at 9 AM with over 50 vehicles participating. The rally itself commenced at 9 AM with over 50 participants, covering a distance of 50 kilometers within the outskirts of Colombo over a period of 2 hours. The rally started and ended at the car park opposite Parliament grounds, after which there was a fellowship for participants and their families. All profits from this event will go to the Sri Lanka Federation of the Visually Handicapped, a government-approved charity. The event was of course supported by the Insurance Ombudsman, the advisor to the Sri Lanka Federation for the Visually Handicapped. 8 of the leading insurance companies, AIA, Amana Takaful, Asian Alliance, Selinco, Continental, H&B Assurance, Jana Shakti and Union Assurance took part in the organization of this event. The Insurance Ombudsman Dr. Vikrama Veerasurya stated that this was the first fundraiser that the Office of the Insurance Ombudsman was conducting in concert with the insurance companies. He further observed that they were pleased to have 8 leading companies as partners and the Motor Racing Association as co-organizer to raise awareness and funds for this important goal.